Terrific. Good morning. My name is Morris Massell, and I am from Court Solutions. And I'm going to briefly walk you through who we are and what we do. What we provide is teleconferencing services for the courts. Right now, courts have only two basic options on how people can appear telephonically. One, or rather appear at all. They can come to court, that works, and sometimes they can use something like a conference call line. And conference call lines are great, but there are all kinds of difficulties with conference call lines. You have people on and operators, you don't know who's on, judges have absolutely no control over what's going on during the hearings. And for people that are appearing, it's very hard to know who's talking and what's going on. So we've come up with an innovative way to address this. For judges, in order for someone to participate on a phone line, what has to happen is the individual has to come to our website and register. They create an account, which is like creating an account on Amazon, that provides them with, they provide their name, their firm, their basic contact information. And from the judge's point of view, they say to the judge, I'd like to appear before Judge Smith Tuesday, 10 o'clock, click. That's it. 24/7, any attorney, any participant who wants to come onto the phone, goes to the website, does that. It's about 60 seconds of their lives, and then comes to the judge. And the judge, like judges always do, have a decision to make. They can decide, yes, I'm going to let this person participate, or no. And they come right here into our screen, and they see these are the people that want to participate. And that's it. And they say yes or no. And a note goes out to the individual that informs them your participation has been approved or not. Very, very simple. And of course, since this is all software, we can automate that. Some judges don't want to have to approve anything, and they say everything is automatically approved. And so we can do that. They can do it on a case-by-case basis. They can do it universally. Then when it comes time for a call, what everybody does is they come to our website and they click this orange button that shows up on their screen. It says Open Hearing Dashboard. And on their screen, what they're going to see is their dial-in information. Dial-in information is permanent for everybody. You have your own, and it never changes throughout our relationship with you. You dial our access number, and then for attorneys or participants, they're asked to enter their cell phone number, which is just a way of identifying them. And then they enter a quick PIN number. That's it. They're in the call. For judges, it's even easier. Every judge has their own unique phone number. They dial it from their courtroom, and they're in. That's it. Nothing more. No codes, no operators, no delays. Instead of taking 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes to get a call started for a judge, it's as simple as dialing a phone number, and that's all. So now comes the fun part. Once you dial in, your screen will refresh, whether you're a lawyer or a participant or a judge, and you're going to see what we call the hearing dashboard. And what makes the hearing dashboard very special is it is a visual representation of everybody that's on the call, and it lets you see and interact as if they were in person. So these are all photographs. They're not video. And if you will, that was the only way I was ever going to be a judge in the bankruptcy court, was by making a whole app around it. So let's talk about this. The first thing you see instantly is who's on the call. So instead of, we've all been on those conference calls before, we say who's on the line, you have names, people talking over each other. In a simple glance, you see the name, the firm, and the client represented by that individual without ever having to say a word. Very exciting. Now, let's talk about some of the functions that you have. One of the most difficult things for a judge and any participant on a call is to know who's speaking. I'm from New York, and last I checked, I don't have an accent, but I bet you if you took 5 other guys from New York and put them up here, blindfolded everyone, you'd have a very hard time telling the difference between us after a while. And it's not easy for the judges. So what happens is that when someone starts speaking, their card lights up in orange immediately. So the judge and everybody else on the call will know instantly who's on the call and who's talking. You see their name, you see their law firm, and you see their clients. So instead of saying, hello, this is Morris, I'm from XYZ firm representing the debtors, the judge knows that without having to say anything. Of course, sometimes there are calls, and we host many of them, where you have 100 participants. Let's take the Toys R Us bankruptcy right now, where there are about 150 people who have regularly participated on these calls. Instead of scrolling up and down the screen, which is not so much fun for a judge or really practical, or for his clerks or deputies, right there on the side, there's a bar that's locked that shows who's speaking right now and who the last couple of speakers were. So you always have that information available to you. Now, I grew up as a lawyer. I practiced for 17 years, and I experienced all kinds of mayhem on these calls. I've heard everything from people in airports, in Starbucks, with babies, with dogs, even to people doing some very personal things that should never have been broadcast. And then once in a while, you hear someone piping in hold music because they think they're doing the right thing. They hit hold on their phone, and the whole courtroom is treated to Bach or some other music. Now for the judge has a choice or two. The judge could say, you know what, I'm going to grin and bear it, and that's the way it goes for me. Really not a very pleasant way for a judge to try to run a hearing. The judge can scream, but this person's probably not listening or paying attention, or cut off the entire line, and that's not good for anybody. So what happens in our system is that when someone is making noise on the line, just like when they're talking, they light up in orange. So when that baby's screaming, you know that it's Sandy, or she's in TSA in the security line. All you have to do is press that little button there, and her line is instantly muted. The judge, the clerk, the deputy, anybody from the court side has instant control over everybody. There are times when the attorneys are fighting with one another, and the judge says, it's my turn to speak, but they keep talking over each other. All the judge has to do, press that button there, everyone's phone is instantly muted. They see it on their screen that they're muted, but they also hear it in their ear, you've been muted by the judge. So they're given all kinds of signals to let them know, maybe you're not playing the right way with the judge right now. I myself have been at many, many disclosure statement hearings and other hearings where you have dozens of lawyers walking up to the podium. They want to reserve their rights. Long queue forms. On the phone, you can't do that. When I want to speak in court, what do? I typically stand up, catch the judge's attention, we make eye contact, I get on a queue. What I don't do is this. Hey, judge, judge, you don't do that. It's not polite. But truthfully, it's really the only way that people on the phone can let the judge know that they want to participate, until now. Here, whether it's on their keypad or on their screen, an individual presses a button, and lo and behold, their hand's up. I'd like to speak. Now, they can hoot and holler if they need to. Sometimes you need to object right then and there. It's an interruption, and it's appropriate. But I'm reserving my rights. I'm part of a long litany of people. Probably the better thing to do is raise your hand, and the judge, if and when she decides it's the right time, says, great, I'd like to hear from you. Down there in the bottom corner, the judge sees the queue. This is the number of people that have their hands up, and this is the order they raise their hands. Judge can recognize, as he can in the courtroom, anyone as and when he wants to, but it gives the judge the information that's really important. Now, there are some hearings where the judge will decide it's appropriate to seal the courtroom. Again, right now, there are very few choices that are practical. One, hang up on everyone or put the line on hold for everybody on the phone. Two, you could try and do it with an operator, but you're talking about probably about 10 to 15 minutes to figure out which line is lit, which line is which, who's on hold, who should be, who shouldn't be. Cumbersome process. Here, just click a button. When it's time to put Sandy on hold, tap that button, she's on hold. That's it. Jeff, the same thing. Tap him, he's on hold. Let's say you want to put everyone on hold. You tap that button in the top corner, everybody on the line is put on hold. They can't hear and they cannot speak. And the only way they can get off of hold is if the judge or the clerk or the deputy takes them off of hold. Very, very simple, but real control. Now, sometimes judges need to communicate with the people that are going to be on the phone. Let's say, for example, there's a hearing scheduled for 10 o'clock. It's going to be adjourned. Or it's going to be held over till 11 because the judge is busy on some discovery matter. Something just popped up. Let's say I, as a participant, want to communicate something to the judge about my telephonic appearance. I need a special exception to your rule, Judge, because I've had a familial emergency that I need to dial in. So when the person registers, they can type a little message in that will show up just for the judge, clerk, and the deputy into chambers. It says, up to about 250 characters, it says, here's my message. It's not part of the official record, but it's something no different than if I picked up the phone and said, I need a special permission. As I said before, sometimes a judge wants to let everybody know the hearing is held over or adjourned. They type a message into here, and lo and behold, they click two buttons. It's emailed out to everyone who's been approved for that hearing. And also, if someone didn't see the email, because it happens to all of us, a message is played when they call in and reads that text to them. So that individual will know, oh, the hearing isn't until 11. What does this do? It saves the clients lots of money because we're not going to be wasting people's time. Now, one of the other cool features that we have is document sharing. There are times when in the middle of a hearing, I would like to present a document to a judge. What do? I stand up and I say, "Judge, may I?" And the judge often will say yes, sometimes will say no. On the phone right now, you have only a couple of options. Email it. I don't need to tell you, that's slow and clumsy. Some people are still using fax machines, which is even slower and almost laughable. Or the judge could simply say, "We'll deal with it another time." Not efficient in the least. Here, we have something called document sharing. When that button lights up green, that means that some participant has put a document onto the system for everybody to take a look at. It works just like Dropbox or Google Drive. You click the button and, lo and behold, you can see any of these documents are here. You click it, you download it to your local hard drive, that's it. You want to share a document with the judge? Click Upload. Pick the document you want to upload, PDFs only now, and it's available to everybody on the call. As soon as the call's over, the documents disappear. It's not part of the official record, if you will, but again, no different than my handing documents up. We're right now in about 15 different bankruptcy courts handling cases in all over Virginia, New York, New Jersey, Florida, St. Louis, Michigan, Chicago, and we're continuing to expand our footprint. One of the great things about the system is it's all cloud-based. With a cloud-based system, we're able to scale up for calls instantly. So we regularly have calls where there are 150 participants on a single call, no problem. But other judges find it incredibly useful and powerful for calls that have 2 or 3 people on it because of the information and control they have. When we're working with the courts, of course, for the courts, we never ask them for a contract. They simply can decide we're going to use it today. They can turn us off tomorrow. It doesn't happen, but that's their option because they're the court. And we don't require any special equipment. All you need is a computer with a browser, modern computer usually is better, and a phone. And literally any phone will do. And with that, you're able to jump in the system. From the lawyer's point of view, it's even easier. Most of them now have computers with access to the web and a phone. They can dial in from anywhere. If they're on a run and they're in that security line, they're able to just dial in. They don't need to be in front of a computer. They're obviously not going to get the benefit of things like document sharing if you're just on your phone. But as long as you can get access to the web, even on a phone or a tablet, they're going to get a full and very rich experience. Finally, what we also do is we have very competitive pricing. The lawyers pay an access fee. So the lawyers actually, the courts pay nothing, ever, period, full stop. For the lawyers, it's a flat fee for the entire day. So if they have 1 matter or 10 matters before the same judge for that day, it's the same fee. We keep it very simple, and of course, when there are people that cannot afford the fee, we work with the courts to make sure those people have access because obviously at the end of the day, access to the courts is what's very important. So that's who we are, Court Solutions. We appreciate you guys taking the time to be here and join us. I don't know if there are any questions, either now or later, but thank you very much for your time.